Welcome back to AM 590, 99.7 on your FM dial, and on News Radio KLBJ.com for all of our podcasts. And well, let's give them the business. It's brought to you by MyFurnitureMarket.com. Seems we're all getting back to normal when it comes to in-office hours.
The remote worker is the normal way of doing business nowadays, and it's been that way since the pandemic. There are more offices that are bringing their employees back full-time, or at least for hybrid work. A security company looks at what cities have more workers back. The Office Busyness Index is out, comparing the number of people working at offices before 2020 to the numbers that are back now. For example, Dallas-Fort Worth is about 77% back where it used to be. Only Miami and New York have higher percentages.
That's newsman Campbell Reed reporting at 5:50. Now let's take a look at your money. Here's reporter Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after stocks fell yesterday, taking a breather from the rally under some pressure as bond yields rose. And ahead of Fed Chair Jay Powell's speech today on interest rates in the economy, that's at the Jackson Hole Economic Summit. With the S&P 500 index up 17% for the year right now, some say a normal pullback is in the cards.
We should pause a little bit. It's just a pause ahead of the election where people get a little bit nervous. Typically what happens after the election, you tend to get a nice rally into year-end.
Bank of America's Steve Suttmeyer on CNBC. The FDA has approved updated Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines. The virus is surging in the U.S., and shots should be available within days. Existing home sales for July broke a 4-month losing streak. There are signs of life in the home selling business.
These are closings, so sale contracts signed in May and June when mortgage rates were still over 7%. We're now down to around 6.5%. But the good news is that supply is rising. 1.33 million homes for sale at the end of the month, up a whopping 19.8% year over year. The median price of a home sold in July was $442,600. That's up 4.2% year over year, but it is no longer the all-time high price.
CNBC's Diana Olick. The average rate on a 30-year home loan this morning is about 6.48%, according to Mortgage News Daily. TJ Maxx and Marshall's parent TJX Companies had another winning quarter. Shoppers love that cheaper clothing.
Trading down is the new dressing up, where the millennial and Gen Z generations are spending a lot more of their money in the value channel.
Bank of America's Lorraine Hutchinson on CNBC. Walmart and Burger King teaming up. Walmart Plus members get 25% off digital BK meal orders every day. Peloton shares soared more than 30% yesterday. Its turnaround plan is starting to take hold. It lost less money in the last quarter.
What's going on with the plan that Kamala Harris has announced to combat price gouging?
Well, the plan is to hold retailers, especially grocery stores, but all retailers, accountable when they're charging really more than they have to, especially in emergencies. Happens all the time with gas stations who suddenly raise prices right after a hurricane.
What it is being sure that there's a cop on the beat in emergency situations, making sure that there aren't bad actors out there taking advantage of the American consumer. This is the type of authority that we see in 40 different states, red states and blue states alike.
Former Harris economic advisor Mike Pyle on CNBC. On today's watch list, we get newly built home sales numbers for July. New in theaters, Amazon MGM's mystery thriller Blink Twice and Lionsgate's The Crow.
That is reporter Jessica Ettinger at 5:53. 2 astronauts stranded on the International Space Station could be there for a lot longer.
Wall Street opens this morning after...
Here's that story from Fox News.
The 2 astronauts arrived in the Starliner vehicle back on June 5th and were only supposed to stay until the middle of the month. But NASA discovered helium leaks and propulsion problems with their Boeing spacecraft. SpaceX's Dragon vessel could be an option to bring astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams home. But NASA says there's an incompatibility with the astronauts' Boeing spacesuits and SpaceX's Dragon vessel, which has its own SpaceX spacesuits. NASA and Boeing say they're doing a flight readiness review and hope to have an answer on how to get the astronauts home by this Saturday. Ted Lindner, Fox News.
The maker of that yacht that sank just off the coast of Sicily this week blames the tragedy on indescribable mistakes.
Giovanni Constantino, who's the CEO of the Italian Sea Group, lays the blame at the crew of the 183-foot super yacht that capsized. He says the crew made the incredible mistake of not being prepared for a storm, which was included in shipping forecasts. 22 people were on board when the boat capsized and sank within minutes after being hit by the storm off the coast of northern Sicily. 5 bodies were recovered. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
There's a special part of baseball history that goes up for auction.
Debate may still rage over the moment, but the quote called shot jersey worn by the legendary Babe Ruth against the Cubs during the 1932 World Series is up for auction. Heritage Auctions is estimating the Yankees jersey could go for more than $30 million. In May, when the auction was announced, Chris Ivey, the director of sports auctions at Heritage, said in part, quote, Ruth's World Series jersey is the most significant piece of American sports memorabilia to be offered at auction in decades. Ruth hit 2 home runs during Game 3 of the 1932 World Series, the second of which is referred to as Ruth calling a shot and is arguably the most famous home run in baseball history. Joe Morgan, Fox News.
It is 5:55. Stay close. We got the day's top story straight ahead, and you can always join us at 512-836-0590.
The Todd and Oz Show. What